Hello, welcome to Borderless Path podcast. My name is Innocent, your host. Today we'll be looking at something very interesting, continuing our series about transitioning to tech. And today we're having Oyindamola, that's her full name, and she is a cyber security expert. And trust me when I say she's good at what she does. I'll allow Oyindamola to introduce herself. Oyi, it's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
You mind just a quick introduction about yourself, what you do, so that we get familiar with you a bit?
Yes, like you said, my name is Oyindamola and I work as a security operations analyst. And in my spare time, I help people who want to break into the industry transition and prepare towards landing their first role.
In your spare time, not at the feed, though. I'm just kidding. We're just curious about how you got into cybersecurity because when I read your profile, I think you studied biology
Yes.
and you're doing tech. You didn't because it's too extreme. So can you just tell us about your story, how you got into cybersecurity?
So, like you said, I studied biology in my undergraduate studies. And while I was studying that, I don't think I really saw myself doing that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the opportunity came to enroll into the School of Banking Excellence at the bank where I worked, I enrolled into that. And for 5 months, we were trained on banking and all the related subjects. At the end of the program, we could choose where we wanted to work, and we could be drafted into the department. I had heard from a few people that if you get into the IT department, you did not have to worry about financial targets. So I thought, okay, that's something that I would like to explore. And when that time came, we were told in a subsequent announcement that about 100 people had applied for the same positions in IT.
Sure,
And
I
so
see.
they would have to do a test to distinguish who should get in or not. And the test would be in 3 days. So that was a very crucial moment for me. I threw myself into preparing towards landing that role. And that was the first time that I interacted with anything cybersecurity related. And after the test, I landed my first role into the field, and that's how it all began.
So you moved from biology into the bank, literally,
Yes.
and from the bank, while you're trying to get into the bank, you had an opportunity to run away from financial target into IT. Well, that's genius. So you ran into you were able to get your role in IT. Was it specifically cyber security in the bank?
So what they told us was that the IT department needs people, but they had branched off the IT department into information technology and also cybersecurity. So I chose that option instead.
So the cybersecurity was looking more like a familiar option that you you felt that you could do.
Yes, I'd asked people around about which path of IT was easier to get into,
Okay.
and I didn't need to know a lot of technical stuff to get into that. And the popular opinion from all the people that I talked to was cybersecurity.
So from those popular opinion, now that you're an expert, would you say the popular opinion about not having a lot of technical know-how into working as a cybersecurity expert, is it true?
Yes and no. So yes, in the sense that to get in, you don't have to do a lot of learning about IT hardware and all those other
Yeah, you don't have
things.
to be too savvy
Yeah,
into
too
it, okay?
savvy in it to
Yeah.
begin. However, as you go deeper into it, you then have to go back to that knowledge and
Now,
then get it as you
more
go.
like you have to go back to the fundamentals.
Yes.
So you moving from biology into IT cybersecurity role, what are some of the challenges that you faced as a person?
Okay. So first, the challenge was there's so much for me to know.
No.
How do I do this in 3 days? And I talked to a few people that I knew were already in the field or were working in closely related fields. I was particularly lucky. I had a cousin who was also in cybersecurity. I had barely started a few years there. So I asked him, what are the things that I should know? What are the main things that I should study right now if I have a test in 3 days? And he directed me to some parts which I used, and thankfully I saw some of those in the test.
Beautiful. So, well, that's good. We'll say you're lucky, but we're not always lucky, anyways. So, those are some of the. Now you've moved abroad, moved all the way from Nigeria down to the United Kingdom, and then you're still practicing cybersecurity. Was it the knowledge you had then you used to leverage into working as a cybersecurity expert in the UK, or you had to do further learning or certification, or walk us through the journey?
So when I was in Nigeria, I worked as a SOC analyst at a
Okay.
financial institution. And yes,
So sorry, before you go for that, what does SOC analyst, what does that mean?
oh, it means a Security Operations Center Analyst.
Okay. Security Operations Center Analyst.
Yes.
Okay, more like SOC analyst.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
beautiful.
Yes.
All right, go on then.
So, yes, I learned a lot on the job because, as I said, I only prepared for 3 days just to get in. So I did a lot of learning on the job. But when I moved here, I found out that there are some things that differ here abroad than our environment back then. Um, Back in Nigeria, the company where I worked, we relied a lot on external contractors, and so there was quite minimal for me to do and know because of working on the job. But when I moved down here, I found out that many of the companies that I was applying to, they had their security operations fully in-house. So that arrangement back in Nigeria was a hybrid arrangement where you have an internal SOC within the company and another one on the outside. But when I moved here, I had to pick up skills like scripting, especially in Python, just so that I could do a lot more by myself. And also, I learned a lot of new things, to be honest, to be able to land my first role.
So to work in the United Kingdom, did you need a degree, an extra degree to land the role, or did you need an extra certification? Because I know in project management you do stuff like PMP, Scrum, and all of that. Are there stuff like that applicable in the cybersecurity space?
Yes. Uh, when I came into the United Kingdom, I'd had two certificates, really good ones in cybersecurity. And when I completed my masters, I obtained a third one in addition to my MSc certificate. However, I noticed that here the premium is placed on the skills that you have rather than the certificates that you have. And that took me back a little bit because back at home we would, you know, having many certificates was the thing. But here you had to be able to prove what you could do. They didn't
Do
really care much if you had an MSc or not.
so it's more like you had to more equip yourself, ground yourself in hands-on practice and all of that. So yeah, that's beautiful. So there was no need for extra certification and all of that.
No, there was no need for it, but I did get them and they were helpful. Certifications do help you, but you have to find the balance in the field of cybersecurity between having certifications and having hands on skills. So if you can get the balance between both, I think you're good to go.
So as an immigrant, what are the barriers do you think basically that you can face transitioning into the role as a cybersecurity expert?
So as an immigrant, I think the first thing that happens is the culture shock.
Oh,
First, you
tell me
you
that I had that experience like literally when I came in when I moved abroad, like transitioning into my space and some of the basic things you think the way you do things, greet people, relate with people is totally diverse. So tell us about your experience.
Yeah, it's a funny one actually because now I remember a few interviews that I was in, and I was asked a few questions. I didn't get it right. I know that I fumbled through it just to, get to the other end. And the interviewer made absolutely no face about if I was right or wrong. So then I started to wonder, but I know I'm wrong. Is it that this is what they expect to hear? But then, of course, in a few days, you know that you're not getting in for that role. So that was a bit hard for me to adjust. And also, their interviews were more like conversations. So they're saying something, they expect you to come in, say what you know about it, and then they continue the other part of the conversation. My first set of interviews, I was expecting the questions. I kept waiting for the questions to be asked. And when I'm asked about, say, for instance, somebody asked me, oh, do you know about ISO 27001? I would reply and say, yes, I do. Now, that question was not to know if you know about it. They want you to say as much as you know about that. So those were some of the culture shocks that I had when I first came in, and it really impacted on the success of my interviews.
But now you have moved from being a beginner to an expert and understanding how to navigate the entire culture. That's a brilliant one. And so, looking at uh, the future of tech, news of humanoid robots, and recently the Mark Zuckerberg came online and said that they will be developing uh, AI products that could write code and secure their products much more better than humans can do to take out human errors. So, what do you think? How do you think AI is going to impact the whole cybersecurity space?
Okay, very great question actually. And conversations about this are ongoing, and I think we'll still keep talking about it for years to come. Um, First off, computers are only as smart as how you program them to
Mm,
be. So let's begin with that. You know, in a lot of people, the perception on the outside is that AI is just automatically know what to do, and so they are coming to take out jobs from humans, but that is not so. They are computers at best. What they do still needs to be supervised. You still need to look at what they're doing, see if they even understand the prompt or the task that is being given to them, and see if they're outputting what is expected to be seen. So AI is not going to take away our jobs, but it will help us do it better. It will help us do it faster also.
mm,
That's because in cybersecurity, we have uh, something we call playbooks. So what a playbook is that you tell a computer that if there's a situation or a circumstance like this, do a set of actions, carry out
okay.
these actions, and maybe get this outcome, and then output that to me. So if there was no artificial intelligence to do all of those steps, that means a human would have had to go through all of those steps to get
Mm,
to the end of
mm.
that. But if we have AI, we can then, okay, shorten the process and even the input of human beings. So I think that's where the fear creeps in that, oh, AI is coming to take our jobs. But the way to ride above that is understand AI itself, right? Read up on AI, gain knowledge
Mm.
on how to use it to achieve desired outcomes.
But you'll agree with me that AI is still going to take some jobs. You mentioned something about having working on playbooks. Normally, we will need three, four, five people on ground to work on the playbook. But now we just need that one single connect, maybe depending on the model you're using, connect it to your software, and the AI will do what one or two persons would have done. So, as a cybersecurity person, how should you position yourself? Maybe some AI education or something to future proof your career. Because you don't just want to be fired overnight and have to start again, and you're just transitioning into the space, and AI can literally do what you can do. So, how do we navigate that?
Okay, so while AI is of course going to shorten the steps and reduce a ton of work that we humans do, it is also important to study about it, because yes, AI is doing the work, but it can be attacked, right? It is also vulnerable. So there's the cybersecurity that pertains to AI also that you want to get ahead of, get skilled up in those areas. So when the attacks come into play, and they are already coming into play now, we have people writing malicious prompts just to get information that the AI is otherwise not supposed to give out. We have people there.
Malicious prompt.
Yes.
Well, that's the
Yes.
first time I'm hearing that. I only hear prompt. Now,
Yeah.
prompts can actually be malicious.
Of course, they can. You can trick the AI into giving you information that it is not supposed to divulge
But
to you.
AI is supposed to be smart. Why is this supposed? Why are you not tricking the AI that we know is supposed to be smart?
Yeah. So I said earlier that the AI is only as smart as how you program it, right? So if there are flaws in the programming of the AI, it can be tricked. And trust me, we have people out there that that's their job. They wake up in the morning and then they're just looking for how to get information that they're not supposed to have. Exactly, a loophole. Yes.
So wow, that's scary. So now you could trick AI. Wow, that's. I'm really trying to wrap my brain around that. That will take a minute. So for people trying to transition into this space, cybersecurity space, I really want your direct take on certification or no certification. Because some people say you don't need certification, you just need hands-on skill, show your employer that you can do this and all of that. Some people say you need to have your LinkedIn profile lined up with a number of certifications just to prove yourself that you can. So what's your take on that?
I think there should be a balance between both. You need both sides of the coin. So you want to have hands-on skills. Start with that, actually. Start with gaining hands-on skills. Use labs. For instance, for those who want to break into cybersecurity, there's a resource called Try Hack Me. It's a very, very good resource for getting into cybersecurity. Either you want to come in as a blue teamer or as a red teamer, or either of the sides.
You're not sounding much more technical. What do you mean blue team? You mean political blue team and the red wing in America?
No, not that.
Or is that what we're saying here?
Okay, so in cybersecurity, we have two sides.
Okay.
We have the offensive side and the defensive side. So when you hear people say, "Oh, I hack," those are the offensive. They are trying to break into the system, see what the vulnerabilities are. We have people who do that for good reasons, and we have people who do that for bad reasons. However, the defensive side is called the blue team, and that's where I work currently. On the defensive side, we can have two sets of people. We have the people who partake in GRC, that's governance, risk, compliance, and we also have the security operations analyst, where I say I work. Now, on Try Hack Me, we have parts for either becoming the offensive side, the red team, or the defensive side, the blue team. So that's what I meant by red team, blue team.
Yeah, that's clear.
So you can start out with that. There's a pre-cybersecurity path on Try Hack Me for people who have absolutely no clue at all. I'm on level 0. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do or look at. You can start from there and then move onwards.
Well, my own opinion about cybersecurity is that everybody should be aware of cybersecurity because we're all on the internet. We somehow we can be vulnerable if we click on malicious links, go to malicious websites, and some websites are cloned just to take people's profile. There was a time I went on a wrong Amazon website, and I'm like, oh, really? This is not the real world. So you could have put in your details there if you're not cyber security aware and lost a bit of money or lost some of your data to malicious guys. So now for someone going to transition into this space, what advice will you give aspiring professionals that are going into that trying to who are interested in moving from your space, which is not with absolutely has nothing to do with cybersecurity and wants to move into cybersecurity?
Okay. First, I'll say start somewhere. it's a very big field. There's so many diverse paths that you can branch into, so many things that you can do. So start from first gathering information on what where you should go first. I mentioned just now about the pre-security path on TryHackMe, so you can start from there just to get the fundamentals
Mm,
and the basics. Afterwards, look for transferable skills. And what I mean by this is there are some fields that people have worked before, and they kind of have a link to cybersecurity in the sense that, okay, say for instance, if you've worked in project management before, or you've managed people in any capacity, you are best suited, or you are like better suited towards GRC, because that's what you do in GRC. You write policies, you think about challenges that people might encounter while doing their while carrying out their work. You try to create policies that ensure that they are doing their work safely, right? You are measuring what the risk to the company is, you're complying with standards. That seems like a direct line. If you've studied law, also, that sounds like a path that you would really love to follow, because there are regulations, standards that are to be followed in them. If you've worked in finance before, you can start to look at, say, risk assessment or even fraud assessment. There are some parts of cybersecurity that's what they deal with, just assessing if any fraudulent activities have occurred and how that may have occurred.
mm,
And if you are a computer person, you love to break software, try out new things, try out software, then of course the red team is better suited for you, because there you break a lot of things and you try to figure out how this software can be vulnerable. And lastly, the blue team. If you've worked as, say, maybe somebody that worked in a fire as a fireman, or say in a fire department, and all of those things, incident response, the blue team, that's what they do, and they respond to incidents. That you can be better suited towards that. So look for transferable skills that are in line with what you've been doing or what you've been up to before, and then move towards that.
okay. So one quick question: was there ever a time when you felt overwhelmed about the whole idea of cybersecurity?
Yes, yes, it does get overwhelming. And for me, it wasn't one time. It happens from time to time. So, there are stages, right? You get to a certain stage, you are in charge of a certain things, you kind of get used to the work that you're doing. And then on some days, some challenges come. Let's say there's a hack or something, and you then have to stretch out of what you already know, or the routines that you're used to, in order to accommodate what the new change now is in the environment. So at moments like that, it can get overwhelming. When I was job hunting, that was the most challenging part for me in my entire time in the industry, because I would attend interviews and I would see that the requirements from company to company differed. So it wasn't just one thing that was being required of me. Like for instance, when I interviewed with a financial institution here in the UK, I found out that Python skills was really required for the role. At the moment, at the time then, I didn't have skills in Python. So I had to pay to get trained in that, so that if I'm going to the next interview, that is no longer an obstacle for me to land the job. So it's constantly changing, and that can be overwhelming.
Mm, okay. So I know techie generally are very busy. So how do you balance family life, personal life, and work? More like work-life balance. Do you have a more like a secret sauce that you use to apportion this and then ensure that you're balanced?
Um, well, first, I'd have to say that I have a supportive spouse, supportive family, and that really goes a long, long way, because there are days when you're just really trying to get to maybe the bottom of a particular course, or you have to work longer hours. There's a stretch in what you're doing. You're tired, you're cranky, and in that moment, you just need people who understand that
Sense, yeah.
this is important to you, and you have
Mm,
to get to the bottom of it. And so it's really important if you have or really good if you have people who support you, and that can keep you steady and wanting to make yourself better and continue to aspire. However, here's how I maintain balance. Once work closes, I try to disconnect from work. If it's not extremely important, like the house is burning, I'm not going to attend to that until I resume again back to work.
So, based on the fact that you are in the UK currently, and based on the market standard, for someone moving into cybersecurity and wants to say, someone out there listening to the podcast right now and says, I want to commit into the journey of becoming a cybersecurity expert, probably at an entry level, what are the salary remuneration that we're looking at for an entry level, basically?
Um, I think it differs a lot from company to company. However, in the UK, I've found that entry level roles for cybersecurity look within the range of 20 something thousand pounds. Let's just say from 24 to 34 if it's really good, right? So that's the range that you would typically find. But what I tell people is that go with the right mindset. Don't start with the money. Don't let the money be your drive to get in first, because your first job is not going to satisfy that,
That's true.
and that's the way to frustration. So,
but the money is also a drive as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is to be made.
Because sometimes when you know the fact that you're well compensated for what you're doing, it encourages you to do more and to want to do better and to want to improve yourself in what you're doing. So thank you for your time on this session today. So do you have any final advice and maybe what you want to say to anybody transitioning into cybersecurity? Maybe final advice, word of advice.
Okay, so first I would say start somewhere. You're going to be intimidated by the sheer amount of what you're supposed to know. So that's going to intimidate you, but don't be afraid to do that. Have people who you talk to who are in the field, who have gone ahead of you, who can tell you, oh, watch out for this or watch out for that. So in essence, I'm saying have mentors. Maybe not like direct mentors, but at least have people who you share your progress with, who can spur you on to be better and better at what you do. And also imposter syndrome, we all have it. We all have it. We all have it. And in the tech field, it's going to be harder because you are constantly doing new things every day. No 2 days are the same in the field, so you are constantly exposed to new events or new things that are happening. So just tell yourself that it is possible and continue to pick yourself up when you feel really down.
Thank you very much, Oyindamola, and we are very, very grateful to have you on the show. And lastly, how do we reach you? If somebody out there wants to reach you, probably on LinkedIn, or how do we reach you, basically?
Okay, so on LinkedIn, my name is Oyindamola I don't think there's any other person who bears those two names
Two
together.
combinations.
Yeah, so
that makes you unique, definitely.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, you can reach me on LinkedIn. That's the only social media platform that I can say that you can easily reach me on.
Okay. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening, guys. We'll see you on our next episode, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.